This woman's entire life was a tragedy. She gets divorced from her husband. She didn't get custody of two of her older kids. She gets remarried. That husband dies. She falls in love with a woman. And after Trump won in November, they flee the country to Canada, but migrate back to Minneapolis with her young son.
They're doing it. I'm telling you, this is gross. This is gross. This is too gross. I'm telling you, they are operating on a totally different plane of existence and very much misreading the situation. They think this level of evil will go unpunished. It will not go unnoticed. It will not go unpunished. They are wrong. I'm not just wish casting here. I'm forecasting. Okay? It's too much. It's far too much. They don't see it. You're vastly overestimating the empathy of the average American. There's a difference. This is a white woman. This is a white woman that was killed. I believe that the average American that hears this bleep douchebag speaking about a white woman like this, a kind white woman like this, if you think that the average American watches this broadcast and thinks to themselves, yeah, based, you're out of your mind. You've probably watched too many Asmongold clips. Like, even with Charlie Kirk, there was a grieving period, right? Where Republicans were going crazy over people talking. And there was no equivalence to talking about Charlie Kirk in the way that they're talking about this random white woman. Charlie Kirk was a famous podcaster with a lot of output, okay? With a lot of polarizing opinions, a lot of right-wing opinions. He was out there constantly chirping. So there was, of course, understandably, a lot of people who, didn't like Charlie Kirk, and there were a lot of people who did like Charlie Kirk. But at the end of the day, people didn't identify themselves as Charlie Kirk. Even someone like myself who knew Charlie Kirk, who debated Charlie Kirk, who opposed him, who is doing basically a similar thing to Charlie Kirk. Like, I'm one of the very few people who can say, like, oh, I can identify or associate with Charlie Kirk to a certain degree. Who's closer to the average person? This lady, Renee Good, who got killed in her Honda Pilot by a bleep ICE agent, or Jesse Waters. When you hear stuff like this about a person that you automatically can empathize with, or you can at the very least recognize as one of your neighbors, like even your libtarded neighbor. Let's say you're a real patriot, you're a real rugged patriot. This is basically your kind neighbor that makes cookies, okay? Like, this is the neighbor that has, like, in this house we, stand for BLM front lawn sign, and you call them gay behind their back or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're like a right winger living in a quiet suburb, you don't hate that person, or you 100% do not see that person as like an op that you will disparage. Americans don't like speaking ill of the dead in general, unless it's like an ordained person that you can dunk on. And older Americans, normie Americans, certainly do not appreciate this kind of commentary about a white woman, okay? A white woman that they can understand, a white woman that they have seen before. Like, this is not a black teenager that these guys have been negatively propagandized against to assume that, like, there's danger there, okay? This is a 37-year-old mother of 3 children. You're out of your bleep mind. There's a reason why it's mostly black chatters that understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. Whereas all the white chatters in the chat are like, I don't know about this. Like, they're just all evil. Like, no, this is like a different thing, okay? This is a totally different thing. Americans will get themselves to believe that Tamir Rice deserved to be shot and killed by cops when he's a 14-year-old in a playground with a toy gun. There is no end to the well of depravity when it comes to justifying law enforcement violence against black people, brown people, and the like. But if there's one group of people that all Americans can identify with, because, they have moms, right? I mean, he wasn't even 14. I'm sorry. He was 12, Tamir Rice. But if there's one group of people that, like, most Americans, no matter who they are, no matter how much they bleep, might oppose the politics of, is going to be a 37-year-old white lady with children. But a bi white woman? No, that doesn't matter. Come on. No. The higher priority here is that she is a mom and she's a white lady, okay? She's a mom and she's a white lady, and she's not as like how do I describe this without coming across as rude? She doesn't have a septum piercing and blue hair, you know what I mean? Even if that was the case, like, then you could maybe associate her aesthetically with like a movement or whatever, but she's just like a normie mom. Yeah, she's not alt. She's a educated suburban white woman, and yeah, she is a normal millennial Midwestern mom. And it's incredible the way that they're talking about her. I cannot believe it. I think this will blow up in their faces. I don't think this is the play. As a black chatter, I was surprised to find out she's white. Anyone who doesn't realize how big of a deal it is that they're demonizing her should buckle up. If they had just offered condolences and tried to move away, that would be a better indicator. RIP, of course, to everyone who has died at the hands of law enforcement officers. Yeah. I genuinely think that they're misreading the room, though. Like, maybe I'm coping. Maybe Americans are ready for it. But I think this will come across as, like, very distasteful. The thing that they get away with when they talk about, like, vilifying black victims of police violence is that the average white American cannot put themselves in the shoes of a black person, but they can actually put themselves in the shoes of someone who's afraid of, like, a black teenager. No one is afraid of a white lady in a Honda Pilot. White lady in a Honda Pilot, for, like, the majority of Americans, is seen as just like the soccer mom that they see at the school meet. Okay, I'm just explaining how white supremacy works, guys. I don't know if you're having a hard time comprehending here, but this is just like Americans, by and large, white Americans especially, are taught to be fearful of black people. This is how white supremacist racism works, anti-blackness works, right? You can otherize black people this way, and that's precisely the reason why a lot of mainstream media for years and years weaponized this kind of otherization and dehumanization whenever they were reporting on black victims of police violence. But you can't really otherize a soccer mom. You can't otherize her. Like, even from the point of sexuality, it doesn't work that way. Like, if she was trans, maybe. If she was trans, yes, this would be a different story. But when you're talking about like when you're talking about like a 37-year-old woman who had a prior marriage and then her husband passed away and she had a partnership with another woman, like that's not gonna alert people's lack of interest or cause them to not be able to empathize with someone like that. Like, you have to close your eyes and imagine, like, is this a person that you can see bringing, raisin potato salad to a family gathering? Okay. If the answer is yes, then people are not going to justify their assassination, their execution.
The woman who lost her life was a self-proclaimed poet from Colorado with pronouns in her bio. A 37-year-old white woman named Renee Good. The Daily Mail says she leaves behind a lesbian partner and a child from a previous marriage. She was a disruptor, though she considered herself a legal observer. But there's no evidence she had a law degree.
Dude, this is insane, man. I don't know what to say. I mean, what a animal, dude. I just don't think this is enough to justify people getting on board with it. The woman killed by ICE today was a poet. She won the 2020 Academy of American Poets University and College Poetry Prize at Old Dominion University. This was her bio. Renee Macklin is from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and is studying creative writing at ODU. Her poetry has been published in Metrosphere and Coronado Literary Review, and she currently co-hosts a podcast with her husband, comedian Tim Macklin. Tim Macklin passed away, by the way, in 2023. They left behind after today's events where she got brutally murdered by an ICE agent who I hope will be rotting in prison for the rest of his life if justice is served. They had a child together. They had 3 children together. When she's not writing, reading, or talking about writing, she has movie marathons and makes messy art with her daughter and 2 sons. People are posting the wrong woman's photo. The red lipstick photo is not her. This is Renee from her social media accounts. Renee Macklin, when she was married to Tim Macklin, who passed away in 2023, then she married another person. Because she's a white woman, they don't want that narrative as a fast track to get everyone against them. I truly don't understand. I don't understand why CNN would not actually cover who the victim is here. Because I feel like if you get a better understanding of who the victim is here, you understand that she's not dissimilar to most of these unwashed hogs, these disgusting little creatures all over the internet claiming that she was a terrorist. They would realize that this person does not resemble what they would normally consider a terrorist at all. Yeah, this was her glove compartment. I saw that as well. Like, this is who they shot and killed. If Nick Lee didn't make that dumbass video, then ICE would be elsewhere right now. They'd be probably killing someone else somewhere else. Let's be real. But they wouldn't be in Minneapolis. This is what I mean when I say it is ridiculous to assume that Donald Trump gives a about Venezuelans, safety and security of Venezuelans, when he doesn't even give a about the safety and security of his own goddamn citizens, dude. Like, what are we talking about? He saw this shit happen and posted a video being like, this woman was a dangerous terrorist who had it coming for her. It's mind-boggling. He doesn't even give a about Americans. What makes you think he cares about Iranians or Venezuelans, dude? God damn.